This is Dr. Amelia Bueche, founder of This Osteopathic Life for the health of all things. As a specialist in neuromusculoskeletal medicine and osteopathic manipulative medicine, I have dedicated my professional career to the study of the intricate design of the human body and understanding how the structural components, nerves, muscles, and bones can influence the function of the entire system. Quality movement directly relates to quality health, and it's important to have the right tools for optimal strength, flexibility, and mobility. Through these videos, I lead you through clear and concise exercises that you can use to find optimal health through movement. It is important to note that while I am a physician, these videos do not constitute medical advice, nor do they replace the important relationship between you and your personal physician. Before beginning any exercise plan, it is important to consult with him or her to ensure these are the right exercises for you, your particular diagnoses, and your current state of health. Thank you for joining me, and let's get started finding best health through movement. In today's episode, we'll be looking at exercises for the thoracic region. The thoracic spine runs from the bottom of your neck to the bottom of your ribs. And we'll look at some key muscles that attach both in the front and in the back that can really impact our posture and our overall health. The first, we will begin with the pec muscles. And the pecs are chest muscles, and they're big, strong muscles. And they're tight because most of our activity during the day is in a forward bent position. We think about reading, typing, texting, driving. We're in this kind of forward shoulder rolled position. And that can put a lot of stress on the muscles between the shoulder blades. And sometimes our inclination, when our upper back hurts, the area between our shoulder blades hurts, is to stretch it out. We think, let's stretch out that area. It feels really tight. But actually, those muscles have been on stretch all day, and they really want to get back into a resting, neutral position. And it can be hard to fight against such big, strong muscles in the front. And rather than thinking about forcing the shoulder blades back and together, let's think about stretching these pec muscles in the front, which will allow you more naturally to have the shoulders come back into a down and relaxed position. So the first thing you can do is just work on opening the chest. So just sitting up and rolling the shoulders back and down. Okay, so that's one. Or we can just think to correct that gently when we're seated. Another is to reach the arm back and behind. And opening one arm at a time, you'll start to feel a pull across the front of the chest and into the shoulder here. And you want to do that on both sides. You can find what we call restorative arm postures, and that would be like a cactus pose. So if you have both arms up and to the side, thinking about opening the chest this way. If you're seated and you're at your desk, you could reach one arm behind and make contact with your desk. Or you could come to a standing position and find a corner or a doorway or even just a door jamb if you're going to work one arm at a time. You're going to place your forearm against the surface of the door jamb. So I'm going to use this post here, and I'm placing my forearm against the post, and then I step forward, keeping my body upright until I feel a stretch across the front of the chest. And you want to hold this for a good minute. If it feels like too much, if it makes your hand go numb or tingly at all, you just back off a little bit. Still feeling a stretch here, but maybe not as much tension across the upper part of the shoulder. You can imagine if I were in a doorway, I could have both arms engaged and step forward. There's sometimes a temptation to lean, to really get more out of it and put our body weight behind the stretch, but that starts to activate pec, and we don't want to use the muscle. We want it to be relaxed so we can truly just get a stretch out of it. So make sure you stay committed to being upright, walking in, and importantly, walking yourself back out. We don't want to do a push-up after having done all that relaxation work and activate the muscle again. So using a corner, which is sometimes harder to come by in the house, a doorway can be great. Hands at shoulder width, walking in, holding, and walking back out. The lats are the big muscle in the back. We think about the swimmer muscle, it's our pull-up or our pull-down muscle. And that can get quite tight too, and it's an important muscle because it attaches both to our upper extremity and into our lower extremity, so it can limit our fluidity of gait, okay? And so to stretch that muscle, we can use a surface like a counter or a table. I'm going to use this stool here. And what we do is reach our hand out wide and long and step back so we can hinge at the hips and allow ourselves to open through the side of the ribs and into the arm. You might feel the stretch here. That's where that muscle is attaching. You might feel it along the ribs. You might feel it nearer to your back and hips. Okay? And you want to just lean back, maybe lean a little bit toward that side, wherever you feel that engagement. And again, you would repeat this on the opposite side. If it's too hard to sit back in that low, or it stretches your back, or it's too much work for the legs, you could also use an upright surface. And a door jamb is an option. A post could be useful. And what you'll do is you'll take your hand and turn your thumb down as you go to grab that post. And still sitting back, but you don't necessarily have to go as far because you can reach up higher than when we're on that surface. And just start to sit back and let yourself feel that stretch into the back. Okay? Good. And we'll come back up. You could also consider using child's pose, which is when you're on the floor with your toes together and your knees apart. You sit back towards your heels and walk your hands out long and walk to one side and then the other. That would also be an alternative lat stretch. Sometimes that can be stressful for the knees, so these are two options that you could use more easily during the day from a standing position. I'd also like to demonstrate for you a thoracic release technique, and this can help if you feel like things are kind of stuck in that forward bent position. So more than just muscle tension, it feels like mechanically you're stuck forward. And one thing you can do is use the arms as a bit of a lever to help correct that. In the starting position would be to put your hands in kind of the I Dream of Jeannie pose. So you put both hands up on the opposite shoulder, and you can see my elbows are stacked. If you don't have as much shoulder mobility, you might end up in this position. Either one is okay, here or here. And you may want a cushion if you're going to be up against a wall or a door. I'm going to use this post. It's a little bit of a rough surface, so a cushion might be helpful. Even just a folded towel might be useful for you. And what you'll do, I'm going to step up here, is find that position, and you're going to walk up so your elbows are touching that surface, and you're going to press forward. Okay, so I'm going to press my elbows into that surface, and you see kind of my shoulder blades separate. I'll give you a little bit of a close-up demo. As I push my elbows forward, you can see my shoulder blades separate on my back, okay, and that's what we're looking for. If you want to address an area that's tighter lower down in your back, you need to raise the angle of the arms. So you can envision if I have my elbows up high and I'm pressing, the vector of force is coming down into my back. If it's tighter up nearer to your neck, you want to bring the elbows down and press away. And you can see when I'm coming from beneath, I'm getting more of an effect up high in the back. So those are 3 ways to address restrictions and tightness in the muscles around our thoracic spine. By stretching the pecs through various opening exercises, using a corner or doorway as we need to, stretching the lats by reaching forward on a surface, using a post or maybe child's pose on the floor, and a thoracic release technique, using the elbows to give you some mechanical advantage there. Thank you. Thank you for joining in on this episode of This Osteopathic Life, Best Health Through Movement. This is Dr. Amelia Bueche, and we'll see you next time.